Good day, students. Welcome to our video class in mathematics. Today, we are going to look at one of the branches of mathematics, geometry, and we are going to focus on a general concept. That general concept is angles. Stay with me as I take you through this. Now, what are the lesson objectives? First, we should be able to explain the term angle. We should be able to list out parts of an angle. We should be able to know basic rules of angles: complementary, supplementary, angles on a straight line, as well as angles at a point. Of course, we should be able to solve problems involving angles. Now, let's look at parts of an angle. The corner point of an angle is called the vertex. Okay? The corner point of an angle is called the vertex. This is the vertex. Now, the two straight sides are called arms. This and this. The angle is the amount of turn between each arm. The amount of turn in between these two arms, the amount of turn here is what we call angle. What do you observe here? Look at this arm, this line here, as well as this line. Okay? This is their meeting point at the vertex. In other words, these are points of what? Intersection. At this point of intersection, an angle is what is formed. Now, here we're going to look at complementary angles. What are complementary angles? Complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees. That means this diagram will illustrate what we mean by complementary angles. As you can see, there is a line here, there's another line here. This is their point of intersection. That means an angle is formed. Now, between this line and this line, this angle is A. Between this line and this line, the angle here is what? B. Okay? This angle is a complement of this other angle. That means if you add the two together, they must add up to 90 degrees. So the complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees. That means the addition of this plus this must be equal to what? 90 degrees. That means if this is 30 degrees, in order to get the remaining angle, that will be 90 minus 30 degrees. The two of them must add up to what? 90 degrees. As you can see here, angle A plus angle B is equal to 90 degrees. Now, that 90 degrees is referred to as the right angle. It's referred to as what? The right angle. And you have to be very, very careful. You normally use this square to represent a right angle. In diagrams, anytime you come across something like this square shape, it represents what? A right angle. So this is a right angle. Okay? A plus 1 is equal to 90 degrees. So once you come across this, just have it in mind that this is what? A right angle. Exactly. Because at times in questions or problems, you only put the diagram there. Okay? Just the examiner is ready to, or the examiner is ready to know that that angle is what? 90 degrees. Okay? So now let's move to the next slide. Here, we are going to look at supplementary angles. Supplementary angles. What are supplementary angles? These are angles that add up to what? 180 degrees. They are angles that add up to what? 180 degrees. Now, if you look at this line, this is a straight line, and you have a particular line projected from maybe any part of the line. You can see this other line was projected from it. So that means two angles were formed. Between this and this, the angle here is A. Between this line and this line, the angle here is B. Okay, remember, this is the straight line. So we now decide to project a line from where? From this straight line. So that means with the two angles formed, if we add the angle here plus the angle here, they will both add up to what? 180 degrees. So supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees. So that means A plus B must be equal to 180 degrees. Okay, that means that is sum of angles on a straight line. So that means this 180 degree represents the sum of angles on a what? On a straight line. At times you need to know the angle notation in mathematics. When you want to represent angles, at times you normally use this kind of notation, something like this. So anytime you come across something like this implies this is notation for angles. Okay, angles. Exactly. So now let's move to next page. Now we're going to look at angles at a point. Okay, angles at a point. These are angles that add up to 360 degrees. These are angles that add up to what? 360 degrees. Now we need to identify that point. If you look at this line, this line, this line, we have three lines. From what you observe here, this line, one, another line here, another line here. It's like this particular point is their point of intersection. So this is their point of intersection where they meet. Okay, where they meet is that point we are talking about. Okay, for instance, you can see this line, this line, this line. They all meet at this particular point. That is what we mean by angles at a point. This point here. And the angle formed, they have many angles. 1, 2, 3. So we have three angles from the A, B, C. Angles at this point. That point where they meet is what we are making reference to. So in other words, angle A plus B plus C, the three angles will add up to 360 degrees. So anytime you have something like this, the addition of all these angles at a point will give us 360 degrees. Okay, so now what is the discriminants of this 360 degree? This 360 degree implies sum of angles at a point. Okay, the 360 degree is the sum of angles at a point. The addition of all these three angles will be equal to 360 degrees. Now, let's look at this example. Okay, here you have two angles, angle A and 38 degrees. Of course, you should observe that this is a right angle. Okay, so this forms what? A right angle, complementary angles. And you need to observe that this A is the missing angle. We have to solve for this variable, right? Knowing fully well that this is a right angle, and these two angles will definitely add up to what? 90 degrees. So we can simply say solution from the diagram: A plus 38 degrees must be equal to what? 90 degrees. Okay, how did we get this 90 degrees? This is right angle. Right angle. Can you see that? Now the next step is what? Collect like terms. We collect like terms. Okay, so in other words, plus 38 will move to the right and it will turn to negative, minus, right? So that means A will now be equal to 90 degrees minus 38 degrees. Can you see that? So you decide to work this out. 90 minus 38. Of course, you borrow 1 from 9, you'll be left with 8. You place the 1 here, it becomes 10. 10 minus 8 will give you 2. Now you have 8 left here. 8 minus 3 will give you what? 5. Okay? So, therefore, A, the missing angle here, is going to be 52 degrees. The answer here is going to be 52 degrees. That's going to be our value of A, the missing angle. Okay? You should know that this angle here is what? Right angle, and this is a square. And remember I told you that anytime you come across this square shape, that means it is what? A right angle. And a right angle is equal to 90 degrees. So that means these two angles will add up to 90 degrees. Now let's look at this example. Okay, now there's a line here, there's another line here. Okay, the angle formed here should be a right angle. Okay, you can see this line and this line, they are perpendicular to each other, meaning they both meet at angle 90. Can you see that? They both meet at angle 90 degree. 90 degree. Okay. Now, how do we solve this? These two will add up to 90 degree. We now have 5b plus 1 plus 34 degree will give us 90 degree. How did I get 90 degree? This is a right angle. This is a what? Right angle. Okay. Now observe that you drop down 5b. 1 plus 34 will give us 35. This will be equal to 90. Okay. Now, what are we going to do next? We simply collect like terms. Okay. By collecting like terms, we separate the letters from the number. So plus 35 will move to the right. So you are left with 5b at the left hand side. So 5b will be equal to, this will move to the left, to the right rather, plus 35 will move to the right, comes to minus 35. So that 5b will be equals to, what is 90 minus 35 degree? 90 minus 35. Of course, you borrow 1 from 9, you are left with 8. When the 1 gets here, it becomes 10. 10 minus 5 will give you 5. Now, 8 minus 3 will give you what? 5. So that means 90 minus 35 degree will give you 55 degree. Right? Now, we're looking for b. Okay? So you have to divide both sides with the coefficient of b, which is 5. So that means you divide both sides by 5. So that you now have 5b over 5 equals 55 over 5. 5 goes here 1, 5 here 1, 5 here 1, 5 and 5 1, 5 and 5 1. Therefore, our final answer B equals to 11 degrees. Yes. 11 degrees is our final answer. Okay, B is what? 11 degrees. So our final answer is 11 degrees. Okay. Now let's move to the next slide. Now, in example 3, you observe that this is a straight line. Okay? Of course, how many angles do you have here? 1, angle C, 2, 22 degrees. Okay? And remember, I said sum of angles on a straight line is what? 180 degrees, which are supplementary angles. So we can now say addition of these two angles must be equal to 180 degrees. In fact, no matter the kind of orientation you have about this, even if we decide to move this straight line in a clockwise direction, as long as it's a straight line in any direction, it will still add up to what? 180 degrees. Okay? You can even decide to move it in an anti-clockwise direction so that it turns this way. The two angles will still add up to what? 180 degrees. Okay? So now, what do we do next? We now say C plus 22 degree equals 180 degree. Now, how do you get this 180 degree? Sum of angles on a straight line, okay? Can write it like this. Sum of angles, of course this is the notation for angles, on a straight line. Sum of angles on a straight line. Sum of angles on a straight line. So what next? CLT, collect like terms. So that means plus 22 will move to the right. That will give us minus 22. So that means we are going to have C equals to 180 degree minus 22 degree. This is 22. Of course, let's quickly subtract that. 180 minus 22. Simply borrow 1 from 8. You are left with 7. Replace the 1 there, becomes 10. So 10 minus 2 will give us 8. Now 7 minus 2 will give us 5. So you now drop down 1, right? So 180 minus 22 will give us 158. You can now say, therefore, our final answer, the missing letter there, or the missing angle is 158 degrees. So that is the solution to this example. So the answer here is going to be 158 degrees. By the time you add 158 degrees to 122 degrees, that will give you 180. Now, this is another straight line. You observe that the line is now in a vertical direction now. Can you see that? It's just like rotating it from the previous example. Now, what do you observe here? We have three angles here. Okay? There's an angle formed here, angle D. There's an angle here, square shaped, and another angle here, 51 degree. And remember, I made reference to this square shape. Anytime you come across any question that you have this square shape, that angle is a right angle. Okay, that angle is what? A right angle. And a right angle is equal to what? 90 degrees. So you're expected to indicate that this is what? 90 degrees. Okay, now when I solve this now, this will give us D plus 90 degree plus 51 degree. Everything will add up to what? 180 degree. Sum of angle on a straight line, right? So you drop down D plus, what is 90 plus 51? 90 plus 51. Of course, 0 plus 1 will give you 1. 9 plus 5 will give you 14. Okay? So that means 90 plus 51 will give you 141 degree. This will be equals to 180 degree. Now, the next thing is to do what? Collect like terms. Okay? You have to collect like terms. That means this number will move to the right. Plus 41 will now move to the right to come to minus 141. So that will give us D will be equals to 180 degree minus 141 degree. Now, if you subtract that, 180 minus 141. Of course, you have to borrow 1 here. You'll be left to 7. When you borrow 1 from 8, you place the 1 here, it becomes 10. 10 minus 1 will give you 9. 7 minus 4 will give you 3. 1 minus 1 will give you 0. So that means you have 39 degrees. So therefore, your missing angle D, is what? 39 degrees. The missing angle here is 39 degrees. So let's look at the next example. Now here, the missing angle here is E, this variable. Now, what do you observe? You have three lines meeting at a particular point. There's a line here, there's another line here, there's another line here. Okay, this is their meeting point. This is their point of intersection. Can you see that? Remember I said angles at the points will add up to what? 360 degrees. That means addition of everything you have here must be equal to 360 degrees. Okay, so we can now say E plus 30 plus 230 degrees must be equal to 360 degrees. Okay, the addition of the three angles must be equal to 360 degrees. How did I get this? This is sum of angles at a point. Sum of angles at a point, because the examiner expects you to tell us how you arrive at 360 degrees. Okay, it's one of the angle rule. Okay, remember one of the angle rule here states that the sum of angles at a point is equal to 360 degrees. Now, if we add this together, we now have E plus, this is 30 plus 230. Okay, let me call this 230 plus 30. If you add this together, this is 0. 3 plus 3 is 6. Then you now drop down 2. That will give you 260 degrees. So that means this is 260 degrees. After adding these two, everything must be equal to 360. Can you see that? So we can now say collect like terms. By the time you collect like terms, we have E will be equals to. Now you have to move plus 260 degrees to the right hand side. That means the sign will change from positive to what? Negative. So this will now give us 360 degrees minus 260 degrees. So by the time you subtract this, 360 minus 260. 0 minus 0 will give you 0. 6 minus 6 will give you 0. 3 minus 2 will give you 1. Okay? And I'll say, therefore, our missing angle will give us 100 degrees. So that is going to be the solution to this problem. So our missing angle is 100 degrees. Okay? Now, let's look at another example. Okay? I'm going to look at another example again. Now, let's assume we have question involving something like this. Of course, we have a straight line. Okay. Now we have this way. We have this way. Again, something like this. Okay. Then this is x. Okay. Why this one is 35 degrees. 35 degrees. Now you are told to find the unknown angle x. Now, if you observe closely, we have three angles here, and the angle all lie on this what? On a straight line. So this is the straight line. Okay, this is a straight line. You notice that all these angles, they are all on the what? On a straight line. Now, this square shape should tell us that this is what? Angle 90 degrees. So that means since this is a straight line, addition of these three angles on the straight line must be equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so that will give us x plus 35, x plus 35 plus 90. Everything must be equal to 180 degrees, right? So we now say this will be x plus what's 35 plus 90? 35 plus 90. 5 plus 0 will give us 5. 3 plus 9 will give us 12, right? So that means x plus 125 degrees equals to 180 degrees. Okay, now say CLT, collect like terms. Of course, we have to move this from the left to the right. So it's going to turn to minus 125. So that this will give us x equals to 180 degrees minus 125 degrees. Okay, so now right here 180 minus 125 degrees. Of course, you can borrow 1 from 8, so you'll be left with 7, right? You Place the 1 here becomes 10. 10 minus 5 will give you 5. 7 minus 2 will give you 5. 1 minus 1 will give you 0. Okay? So that means our missing angle x is 55 degrees. Our missing angle here is what? 55 degrees. That is the solution to this problem. Now we have another question. Here, let's assume you have these are a straight line. This one is going this way. This one is going this way. Okay. The angle here is 2y. The angle here is 50 degrees, while this is 20 degrees. Okay. If you can try this, pause the video and give it a try. Of course, remember that this is a straight line and you have 3 angles on a straight line that will add up to 180 degrees. Okay? Right. Now, let's do justice to this problem. Of course, since this is a straight line, regardless of the orientation of the line, as long as it is a straight line, they will all add up to 180 degrees. So you can now see this is what? 2y plus 50 degrees plus 20 degrees must be equal to 180 degrees. Okay, angle on the straight line. So that means 2y plus 70 degrees equals to 180 degrees. Can you see that? Collect like terms. That means you drop down 2y equals, this will move to the other side. That will give you 180 degrees minus 70 degrees. So 2y is equals to 110 degrees because you subtract this 180 minus 70. 0 minus 0 is 0. 8 minus 7 is 1. Drop down 1. So if 2y is equals to 110 degrees, that means y will now give us 110, everything divided by 2. Now, how many 2 can we get in 11? That will give you 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 11 minus 10 will give you 1. So that means we made that 1 here. If you place this close to 0, that will make this 10. 2 in 10 will give us 5. So that means our final answer here is what? 55 degrees. That will give you the value of our y. As you can see, you have to write out the sum of the angles. Because it's a straight line, it must add up to 180 degrees. That is going to be the solution to that problem. Okay? Now, at times, when you come across diagrams like this, you always have to remember, whatever the orientation is, it will always add up to what? 180 degrees. Okay? So always add up to 180 degrees. You guys of how the diagram looks like. Okay? Now look at this for instance now. If you have something like this, or let's say, okay, like this, okay? Project a line this way, project a line this way, project a line this way, then can project a line now, let's say this way. Okay, so all the angles here, because this is a straight line, all the angles here will add up to 180 degrees. They will add up to what? 180 degrees. Okay, even if you decide to change the orientation of those lines, okay, of course, this is a straight line, this is a straight line, this is another straight line, okay, this is a straight line. So everything will always add up to what? 180 degrees. Okay, so yes, anytime you come across question like this, try as much as possible to apply the angle rule. That the sum of angles on a straight line will always give you 180 degrees. Okay, so now let's look at one more example or thereabouts. Example, okay, we have this, we have this, we have this, then we have this, okay. Now this angle is 78 degrees. This is 85. This angle is K. While this is 130 degrees. Now you observe closely, how many lines do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. 4 lines, they are all meeting at a point. So we are going to use the angle rule for angles at a point. Okay? So now what do you observe again? Since the 4 lines all meet at this point, we are going to use the angle rule. Everything will add up to what? 360 degrees. So addition of everything here must be equal to 360 degrees. So that means you have K plus 78 plus 85 plus 130 must be equal to 360 degrees using our angle rule. So now let's add 78 plus 85. 78 plus 85. Sorry, 78 plus 85 plus 130. 130. Okay. Now let's add this together. 8 plus 5 give you 13. Okay, 13 plus 0 is that's 13, right? 3 carry 1. 1 plus 7 will give you 8. 8 plus 8 will give you 16. Then 16 plus 3 will give you 19. So you write 9, carry 1. So 1 plus 1 will give you 2. So that means the addition of these 3 angles will give you 293. So that means we drop down K plus 293. Everything will be equal to 360 degrees. So you now see collect like terms, right? By the time you collect like terms, our K will give us 360 degrees. Of course, you have plus 293 at the left hand side. By the time it gets to the right hand side, it comes to minus. So this will give you minus 293. Okay? Now let's carry out this subtraction. 360 minus 293. Of course, you borrow 1 from 6. That means what you have left here will be 5. You place the 1 here, becomes 10. 10 minus 3 will give you 7. Now, it's not possible for you to take away 9 from 5. So you have to come here to borrow 1. You'll be left with 2. 1 gets here becomes 15. So now 15 minus 9 will give you 6. While 2 minus 2 will give you 0. So this will give you 67, right? So that means our missing angle K is equals to 67 degrees. That is our final answer. 67 degrees. Okay? So that's our final answer. Now, how can you solve this kind of problem? We have something that looks like this. This is 2y. This is y. This is 3y. Okay? Here we're told to find y. We're told to find y. The first thing you must observe is that you have a straight line. A line was projected to the left, another was projected to the right, forming 3 angles, 1, 2, 3. Now, what you have to observe is this. In algebra, this y is given as 1y. Okay? That y is given as 1y. So that means if you add up all the 3 angles, The three angles will add up to 180 degrees. So we can now say 2y plus 1y plus 3y will be equals to 180 degrees. That's the sum of angles that on the straight line. So 2y plus 1y will give you 3y. 3y plus 3y will give you 6y. You can now say 6y equals 180 degrees. Now, to get our value of y, you simply divide both sides by 6. Okay? That means 6y over 6 equals 180 degrees over 6. 6 here 1, 6 here 1. Okay? Now, 3 can go here. The common factor of 6 and 180. 3 can go here 2 times. Right? 3 in 18 is 6. 3 in 0 is 0. So 2 here 1. 2 in 6 is 3. 2 in 0 is 0. So therefore, our missing angle or the value of y from that diagram is 30 degrees. Okay? 30 degrees. Now, let's say for instance, you are now asked that what will be the value of all this missing angle? Knowing fully well that y is 30 degrees. So in the first case, 1y is simply 1 times y, which is 1 multiplied by our value for y is 30 degrees. We now substitute y with what? 30 degrees. So that's going to give us 1 times 30, which will give us 30 degrees. Then our 2y will be, the 2y is simply going to be 2 times y, which is 2 times, what's our value of y? We replace it with 30 degrees as usual. So times 30 will give you 60. Then the last value, which is 3y, will be 3 times y, which is going to be 3 times the value of y, 3 times 30, which will give us 90 degrees. You find that by the time you add 30 plus 60 plus this 90, we end up having 180 degrees. Okay, so that is that. Now let's look at the assignments. Of course, we are going to solve this question. You apply same angle rule given to you, angle at the points. Okay, solve for A. Next slide, we solve for B. Okay, this is a square shape, meaning this is the right angle. The complementary angles will add up to 90 degrees. Okay. Here you have to solve for C. Angle on a straight line. Then this should be the last question, where you have to solve for this unknown angle E. You observe that the 4 lines meet at the point, so you use the angle rule for angle at the points. Exactly. So everything must add up to what? 360 degrees. Okay? So I'm going to send the notes to Polygon platform, endeavor to submit your note before the next class. Thank you. I remain Mr. Kamal.